Hi, I'm Daniel. I never thought I'd be telling this story, but sometimes life takes unexpected turns that change everything. It happened during the summer, before my senior year of college, at the university swimming pool where I worked as a lifeguard. That's where I met Ezra. He was a regular swimmer who came almost every morning, doing his laps with perfect form. I couldn't help but notice him, tall, athletic, with broad shoulders that cut through the water effortlessly. But it wasn't just his physical appearance that caught my attention. It was the way he always had a friendly smile for everyone, the way he seemed completely at ease in his own skin. I knew Ezra was on the swimming team, and I'd heard through the campus grapevine that he had a girlfriend. Not that it mattered, I wasn't out yet, and I'd gotten pretty good at keeping my feelings hidden, but there was something about him that made it hard to look away. One quiet Tuesday morning, when the pool was almost empty, Ezra finished his usual workout and approached my lifeguard chair. "Hey," he said, water dripping from his hair. "You're Daniel, right? I've seen you around campus." I nodded, trying to keep my voice casual. "Yeah, we had Psychology 101 together last semester." "That's right." His face lit up with recognition. "You were the one who always asked the interesting questions. I wanted to talk to you after class a few times, but you always disappeared so quickly." I felt my cheeks warm. I had actually been avoiding hanging around after class because I'd noticed him too just busy with work and stuff. I mumbled. "Listen," he said, "I'm trying to improve my butterfly technique. Would you mind watching and giving me some feedback? I've seen you swim. You've got great form." My heart skipped a beat. I had indeed been a competitive swimmer in high school, but I hadn't expected him to notice. "Sure," I heard myself say. "I get off in 20 minutes if you want to wait." That's how it started, just two swimmers helping each other out. But as I stood at the pool's edge watching Ezra glide through the water and offering suggestions for improvement, I couldn't ignore the flutter in my stomach every time he smiled at me. After that first morning, our pool sessions became a regular thing. Ezra would stay after his morning swim, and I'd help him refine his technique. Sometimes we'd talk about swimming, other times about classes or life in general. I learned that he was premed, that he had a younger sister he adored, and that, despite his confident demeanor, he worried about letting his parents down. One morning, about 2 weeks into our routine, Ezra mentioned his girlfriend had broken up with him. She said I was distant, he said, sitting on the edge of the pool, feet dangling in the water, that I seem preoccupied lately. I sat down beside him, careful to maintain a safe distance. "I'm sorry to hear that." He shrugged his shoulder, brushing against mine. "Don't be. I think she was right. I haven't been myself lately. Been thinking about a lot of things." The way he looked at me then made my heart race. There was something in his eyes I couldn't quite read, something that made me wonder if, but no, I couldn't let myself go there. "Want to talk about it?" I offered, trying to be a good friend. "Maybe later," he said, then suddenly grinned. "Right now, I want to see if I can beat you in a race." Before I could respond, he'd slipped into the water. "Come on, Danny Lunless. You're scared." I laughed and dove in after him. We raced across the pool, our bodies cutting through the water side by side. I could feel the energy between us, the electricity of competition mixed with something else I didn't dare name. When we touched the wall at the same time, both breathing hard, Ezra's Laugh echoed off the water. You're faster than you look, he said, his face close to mine. You're not so bad yourself, I replied, trying to ignore how the water droplets on his eyelashes caught the morning light. That's when he did something unexpected. He reached out and brushed a strand of wet hair from my forehead, his fingers lingering just a moment too long. The touch sent shivers down my spine that had nothing to do with the cool water. Daniel has said softly. But before he could finish, the door to the pool area opened as the morning swim team started arriving for practice. Ezra pulled back quickly, hoisting himself out of the pool. Same time tomorrow, he asked. Not quite meeting my eyes, I nodded, my skin still tingling where he touched me. Same time tomorrow. The next few days were torture. Ezra still came to swim, but something had shifted between us. There was a new tension in the air, like static electricity before a storm. We'd catch each other staring, then quickly look away. Our casual touches, a hand on a shoulder, fingers brushing while demonstrating a stroke, lingered longer than necessary. One evening after my shift ended, I was doing some solo practice when Ezra unexpectedly showed up. Thought I might find you here, he said, dropping his bag by the pool's edge. Mind if I join? The pool was deserted except for us. The setting sun streamed through the high windows, casting golden ripples across the water. It's technically closed, I said, but I was already moving to make room for him. He slipped into the water beside me. I couldn't sleep, he admitted, thinking too much about what. Instead of answering, he dove underwater, swimming the length of the pool. I followed him, and for a while we just swam in companionable silence, occasionally racing, occasionally just floating side by side. Finally, Ezra stopped at the deep end, treading water. Can I ask you something personal? My heart started pounding. Sure, have you ever? He paused, seeming to struggle with the words. Have you ever felt something for someone that scared you, something that made you question everything you thought you knew about yourself? I could barely breathe. Yes, I whispered. He moved closer, so close I could feel the water displaced by his movements. I can't stop thinking about you, Daniel, when I'm in class, when I'm trying to sleep, when I'm with other people. You're always there in my thoughts. Ezra, I started, but he cut me off. I know it's crazy. I know it doesn't make sense. I've never felt this way about a guy before, but there's something about you. His voice trailed off as his hand found mine underwater. The touch sent electricity through my body. We were floating face to face now, so close I could see the different shades of blue in his eyes. I'm scared too, I admitted. I've never told anyone that I'm gay, he finished softly. I nodded, heart in my throat. Can I just? Ezra's voice was barely a whisper as he moved even closer. Can I kiss you? Instead of answering, I closed the small distance between us. Our lips met softly, at first tentatively, as we treaded water. Then Ezra's hand found the back of my neck, pulling me closer, deepening the kiss. The taste of chlorine mixed with something uniquely him, and I felt like I was drowning in the best possible way. When we finally broke apart, both breathing heavily, Ezra rested his forehead against mine. I've been wanting to do that for weeks, he confessed me to. I admitted, but I never thought that I'd feel the same way. He smiled, his fingers tracing patterns on my shoulder. Underwater, neither did I, but there's something about you, Daniel, something that makes everything else fade away. We swam to the shallow end where we could stand, unwilling to let go of each other. Completely, the setting sun had turned the water into liquid gold around us. What happens now? I asked, suddenly aware of the complexity of our situation. Ezra pulled me closer, his hands settling on my waist. I don't know, he admitted, this is all new to me. I just know that when I'm with you, everything feels right. But what about? I hesitated. What about everyone else? Your teammates, your family, one step at a time, he said, leaning in to kiss me. Again, this time it was deeper, more urgent, filled with all the feelings we'd been holding back. My hands found their way to his chest, feeling his heart racing beneath my palms. We lost track of time, exploring this new dimension of our relationship in the privacy of the empty pool. Every touch, every kiss felt like discovering something new and precious. Finally, the automatic lights flickering on broke us apart. Reality started seeping back, and we should probably go, I said reluctantly. The night security will be doing their rounds soon. Ezra nodded but didn't let go of my hand. Come back to my place, he asked softly. Just to talk. I feel like there's so much we need to say. We dried off and changed quickly, the air between us charged with nervous energy. Ezra lived in an off-campus apartment just a few blocks from the pool. The walk there was quiet, both of us lost in thought, but our hands kept brushing against each other's, sending little sparks through my body. Each time. His apartment was small but neat, with swimming trophies lining one shelf and medical textbooks scattered on the coffee table. As soon as the door closed behind us, the reality of being alone together in this private space hit me. Do you want something to drink? Ezra asked, running a hand through his still damp hair. Water would be good. He disappeared into the kitchen, and I took the moment to catch my breath, trying to process everything that had happened. When he returned with 2 glasses of water, he sat next to me on the couch, close enough that our thighs touched. This is crazy, right? He said, turning to face me. A month ago, I never would have imagined. I know, I replied. Are you okay with all this? Instead of answering immediately, he set down his glass and took my hand, intertwining our fingers. When I'm with you, I feel more okay than I've ever felt. It's like I've been holding my breath for years without realizing it, and now I can finally breathe. But you've never been with a guy before? He shook his head. Never even thought about it. Well, maybe that's not entirely true. There were moments, fleeting thoughts I pushed away, but with you. He reached up to cut my face. With you, I don't want to push anything away anymore. I leaned into his touch, my heart pounding. I've known I was gay since high school, I admitted, but I've never been with anyone either. Never found someone worth the risk of coming out for. And now his thumb traced my lower lip. Oh, I'm terrified, I whispered, but in a good way. He smiled and leaned in, kissing me softly without the water supporting us. This time I could feel the full weight and warmth of his body as he pulled me closer. My hands found their way under his t-shirt, tracing the muscles of his back. The kiss deepened, becoming more urgent. Ezra's hands slid down my sides, pulling me closer until I was practically in his lap. Every touch felt electric, charged with weeks of built-up tension and desire. Is this okay? He murmured against my neck, his breath hot on my skin. More than okay, I gasped as his lips found a sensitive spot below my ear. We stayed like that for what felt like hours, exploring each other with increasing boldness. But when Ezra's hands started to move lower, I gently pulled back. Wait, I said, breathing Heavily, maybe we should slow down a bit. Ezra immediately loosened his grip, his eyes full of concern. Did I do something wrong? No, God, no, I assured him, resting my forehead against his. Everything feels amazing. I want to do this right, and I think we both need some time to process everything. He nodded, running his fingers through my hair. You're right, I got carried away. It's just being with you feels so natural. I forget to be nervous. We shifted to sit side by side on the couch, still holding hands. The intensity of the moment settled into something softer, more intimate. Can we talk about what this means? I asked for us, for everything. Ezra was quiet for a moment, his thumb tracing circles on my palm. I know I want to be with you, he said finally. I know that what I'm feeling isn't just curiosity or confusion, but I also know it's going to be complicated because of the swim team that's part of it and my family. He sighed. My dad's pretty traditional. He's already got this whole future mapped out for me: medical school, marriage to a nice girl, grandkids. I tried to pull my hand away, but he held on tighter. Danielle, look at me, he said firmly. I'm not saying I want to hide this. I'm just saying we might need to take things slow, figure out how to handle it all. I understand, I said, and I did. Coming out was never simple, he said, especially when you had so much to lose. We can take all the time you need. He pulled me into another kiss. This one's soft and sweet. Stay with me tonight, he asked against my lips. Just to sleep. I don't want to say goodbye, yet I agreed to stay, and Ezra lent me a t-shirt to sleep in. It was too big for me, smelling of his laundry detergent and something uniquely him. There was something incredibly intimate about wearing his clothes, more so even than our heated kisses earlier. His bed was a standard double, not huge but big enough for both of us. There was a moment of awkward shuffling as we figured out how to arrange ourselves, but then Ezra pulled me against his chest and everything felt right. Is this okay? He whispered into my hair. Perfect, I murmured back, relaxing into his warmth. We talked quietly in the darkness, sharing the kind of deep conversations that only seemed possible late at night. He told me about realizing he was attracted to me, how confused and scared it had made him at first. I kept making excuses to come to the pool, he admitted, telling myself I just wanted to improve my technique, but really I just wanted to see you. When did you know? I asked that. It was more than just friendship. He was quiet for a moment, his fingers tracing patterns on my arm. There was this one morning about 3 weeks ago. You were demonstrating the butterfly stroke, and the sun was hitting the water just right. You looked beautiful. That's the word that came to mind, and once I thought it, I couldn't unthink it. I turned in his arms to face him, finding his eyes in the dim light filtering through his curtains. I noticed you the first day you came to the pool, I confessed, but I never let myself hope. He kissed me, then soft and sweet. I'm glad you hoped enough to help me with my swimming, even if that was just an excuse to spend time together. We fell into comfortable silence, our breathing synchronizing just as I was drifting off to sleep. Ezra spoke again. Daniel H. Tomorrow morning, will you stay for breakfast? I make pretty good pancakes. I smiled against his chest. I'd like that. I woke up to sunlight streaming through the windows and the smell of sea coffee. For a moment I was disoriented, but then the memories of last night flooded back. I could hear Ezra moving around in the kitchen, and the domesticity of it all made my heart flutter, pulling on my Shorts from yesterday and keeping Ezra's t-shirt on. I patted into the kitchen. He was at the stove, shirtless, mixing pancake batter. The morning light played across his bare shoulders, and I had to resist the urge to walk up and kiss them. As if sensing my presence, he turned and smiled. Morning, he said softly. Sleep okay? Better than okay, I replied, stepping closer. Need any help? He pulled me in for a quick kiss. Coffee's ready if you want. Some mugs are in the cabinet above the machine. We moved around each other in the small kitchen space, and it felt surprisingly natural. I found myself imagining more mornings like this, then quickly pushed the thought away. It was too soon for those kinds of dreams, so Ezra said as we sat down with our plates of pancakes. I've been thinking. My heart skipped a beat about us. About how to handle this. He reached across the table and took my hand. I don't want to hide, not completely, but I also don't want to rush into a big public announcement before we've had a chance to figure things out between us. I squeezed his hand. What are you suggesting? Maybe we could start small. Tell a few close friends we trust. My best friend Tom has been asking why I've been acting different lately. I think I'd like to tell him about us. The fact that he wanted to tell anyone at all made my heart soar. Are you sure? He nodded. He's been my friend since freshman year, and he's got a gay cousin he's really close to, so I know he'll be cool about it. What about the swimming team? Ezra's thumb traced patterns on my palm. That's more complicated, but I was thinking maybe we don't have to hide completely. Either we could just be friends in public at first, but not try too hard to hide that we're close. Let people get used to seeing us together before they know what we really are to each other. That sounds reasonable, I agreed, relief flooding through me. I hadn't realized how worried I'd been about being a complete secret until he suggested otherwise. After breakfast, we cleaned up together, stealing kisses between dishes. It felt surreal, this newfound intimacy, like we'd stepped into some alternate reality where everything was perfect, but reality had a way of asserting itself. Ezra's phone buzzed with a text from his swimming coach about an emergency team meeting that afternoon. I should probably go, I said, gathering my things. You need to get ready for your meeting. Ezra caught my wrist as I passed him. Hey, he said softly, pulling me close. I don't want you thinking this morning was just, I mean last night and this morning, they weren't just. I silenced him with a kiss. I know, I assured him. I feel it to come over again tonight. He asked after my meeting we could order pizza, watch a movie like a real date. I teased. He grinned. Exactly like a real date, I agreed, and after one more lingering kiss, I left his apartment. The walk home felt like floating, my mind replaying every moment we'd shared that evening. When I returned to his apartment, I could immediately tell something was wrong. Jack opened the door looking tense, his usual easy smile nowhere to be seen. What happened? I asked as soon as he closed the door behind me. He ran a hand through his hair, a nervous gesture. I was starting to recognize the team meeting. It was about the upcoming state championships. Coach wants to increase our training schedule. Starting tomorrow, we're doing morning and evening practices. My heart sank. Our morning pool sessions had been our special time together. Oh, that's not all. He continued, packing the room. Tom was at the meeting. He could tell something was up with me, so he cornered me afterward, and I told him about us. My breath caught, and Ezra stopped packing and turned to face me. He was Surprisingly great about it, actually. He said he kind of suspected something was up when I kept talking about my friend. From the pool all the time, relief flooded through me. Really, yeah. He even offered to help run interference with the team if we need it. Ezra moved closer, taking my hands in his, but he also warned me that some of the guys might not be as understanding, especially Marcus. You know, the team captain. I nodded. Marcus was known for his conservative views and had made homophobic comments in the past. Tom thinks we should be careful around him. Jack continued, at least until after the championships. The team needs to stay focused, and any drama could affect our performance. I understood the implications. We'd have to be more discreet, at least for now. How long until the championships? 6 weeks. Ezra pulled me into his arms. I know it's not ideal, but it's not forever, and we can still see each other, just maybe not at the pool anymore. I leaned into his embrace, trying to focus on the positive. We'll figure it out. Besides, your apartment is more private anyway. He laughed softly, some of the tension leaving his body. True, and speaking of privacy, his lips found mine, and for a while we forgot about all our complications. Later, curled up on his couch with pizza in a movie neither of us was really watching. Ezra brought up something else. Tom asked if you'd like to hang out with us sometime. He said nothing obvious, just casual. He thinks it would help if the team gets used to seeing you as my friend. First, the idea of being included in Ezra's life, even in this small way, made me smile. I'd like that. Maybe we could all go to that new sports bar downtown this weekend. Some other team members might be there, but it wouldn't seem weird if you're there as part of a group. Sure, I agreed, though I couldn't help feeling nervous about being around his teammates. Just promise you'll stick close to me. The sports bar evening turned out to be a turning point for us. Tom was amazing, naturally including me in conversations and making sure I never felt like an outsider. A few other swimmers were there, and while there were some curious glances at first, they seemed to accept me as just another friend in their circle. Over the next few weeks, Ezra and I found our rhythm. Without our morning pools sessions, we had to be more creative about finding time together. Sometimes he'd come to my apartment after evening practice, exhausted but always wanting to see me. Other times, I'd bring him dinner during his study breaks at the library. Every stolen moment felt precious. Tom became our strongest ally, covering for us when needed and helping deflect any suspicious questions. He even started inviting me to more team social events, making my presence seem natural and unremarkable. The championships drew closer, and Ezra's training intensity increased. I could see the pressure weighing on him, not just from swimming, but from keeping our relationship private, from navigating this new identity he was discovering. But every time I suggested giving him space, he'd pull me closer instead. You're not a distraction, he'd say, you're my anchor. The night before the championships, Ezra called me over to his apartment. He was unusually quiet as we lay on his bed, my head on his chest. I've made a decision, he said finally. After tomorrow's competition, regardless of how it goes, I want to stop hiding. Not a big announcement or anything, but just not hiding anymore. I propped myself up to look at him. Are you sure? What about Marcus and the others? I'm sure these past weeks with you, they've shown me what really matters. I don't want to spend my life worrying about what others think I want to be with you. Properly the next day Ezra's team won the championships in the excitement of victory surrounded by his celebrating teammates. Ezra did something unexpected. He found me in the crowd, pulled me into his arms and kissed me right there in front of everyone. The pool area went quiet for a moment. I heard a few gasps, saw Marcus's shocked face, but then Tom started cheering and others joined in. The celebration continued now with a new layer of understanding and acceptance. Later that night at the team's victory party, Ezra held my hand openly. Some teammates asked questions, others offered support, and a few stayed distant, but it didn't matter. We were finally free to be ourselves. No regrets, I asked him as we walked home under the stars. He stopped, pulling me into another kiss, only that I waited so long to find you. Sometimes the biggest victories aren't the ones won in competitions, but the ones won in our hearts. Ezra and I had both won something precious: the courage to be ourselves, the strength to love openly, and the joy of finding each other at exactly the right moment.